Hello, and welcome to the We Recommend podcast, a movie podcast where every week we recommend a movie for you to watch and then come back here and listen to us discuss. I'm Jesse.
I'm Jason.
Listen, Henry.
Please call me Henry.
Okay, Henry it is, because this week we recommend Wet Hot American Summer.
Wet Hot Jason.
So, this movie, pretty funny, huh?
I love this movie. It's so funny.
So when was the first time you watched it?
I was in college. I don't know. It's like 2007. I bought it.
Nice,
and I've never seen it. I was like, this looks insane. Because I love Janine Garofalo.
Oh, really? From what all is she in? Actually,
I don't know. I just know that she's funny.
Is she in Freaks and Geeks?
I've never seen that.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, my bad.
Is that a movie?
Yeah. Oh, she's like a Mystery Man, so she's kind of did a lot of movies
Mystery
like that.
Man. That movie's so good.
Ratatouille. Let's go. What I love about this movie is I kind of forgot how kind of slow it starts out. Or it's kind of subtly weird.
Man. Starts out with rock and roll.
It's at first, there's especially at the intro, you see little oh, that person kind of Paul Rudd takes a cigarette, probably go, "Puh." And it's that's kind of weird. But it
partying so hard.
It doesn't 100% give off, this is gonna be a weird movie. And then about after 10 minutes, it's wait a second. Because I could see someone watching this and being, at first, it's being oh, it's just a summer camp movie. And then all of a sudden it's how many planters have been broken for no reason? Which is the best bit.
The
ever.
clay pot sound breaking. Yeah.
It's so funny. It gets me every time. And then they do it 3 times. You're yeah, the rules of 3. And then it comes back 7 more times throughout the movie in places that doesn't make sense. Like when he's rescuing the campers on the thing. It's you just hear it break. What? Oh, so funny.
I imagine that's kind of what the fart track is like.
Oh, God. It's apparently on the DVD, the Blu-ray.
Nice.
It says a commentary. Just, you can't buy it unless you buy it for $40. I need to go to McKay's or something and see if I can find it. But this is a pretty wild cast, huh?
Hell yeah, man. Paul Rudd, Janine Garofalo, fucking Niles from Frasier.
Right? You got,
what's his name?
Is that David Hyde Pierce?
Yeah.
Henry? Okay. Yeah, and then Michael Showalter, which we saw recently on Signs.
Michael Ian Black.
Yeah, Margaret Moreau, right? That's her name?
Yeah.
Katie.
Margot.
Paul Rudd. I mean, just before a lot of these guys were even famous. And I don't know who, Zach Orth plays JJ. He's kind of, if you watch him in the, the prequel series and then the 10 years later series, it's kind of secretly one of the funniest people in those things.
I think he wrote the movie, didn't he?
I'm not. Well, I know it's Michael Showalter and David Wayne.
Oh, okay.
He may have wrote some of the series. Yeah. You got the Law and Order guy, Christopher Meloni. Just humping fridges. God. Molly Shannon as Gail, who falls in love with her.
The vegetable can.
Yeah. Joe Lo Truglio. Neil. Kim Marino. Man, there's just so many. Bradley Cooper, first ever movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you know? So Elizabeth Banks, she got this type of role, and then apparently that's all anybody wanted to cast her as is this, ooh, I'm the blonde, cute girl. Everybody wants to make out with me. I didn't know this, but she's in the Spider-Man trilogy, the original.
Oh, man.
And so she tried out for Mary Jane, but then they said that she was too old. She was the same age as Tobey Maguire.
Oh, no.
And then they cast, what's her name? Kristen Dunst.
Yeah.
Who's 17.
Oh,
so they just wanted someone not in their 20s, apparently. Well, but I love the movie because they're all supposed to be 16-year-olds, and most of them are almost kind of 30.
In their 30s.
So great.
I love in the very beginning when they're in the party, you see Amy Poehler trying to make out with
Bradley Cooper.
Cooper, and he keeps turning away real quick.
It's so funny. Man, that the shed scene kind of a really sensual and almost kind of sweet moment.
With all the balls dropping down.
And he starts Bradley Cooper's character starts climbing up things. So weird. But turns out Wet Hot American Summer, kind of a progressive movie.
Oh, that yeah.
Like when
Always
you
got
think
that.
like his two, what's his name? McKinley. You think like JJ and Gary are going to be like mean to him, and they're like, "We've got something for you. It's a Chase Lowndes. I didn't know if you had one." So good. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I watched this in junior high or high school, and it kind of, just really clicked with me because these are parody kind of movies, are kind of like my favorite comedies. I mean, Wet Hot American Summer, Pop Star we've already done, Dog, Best in Show we've done. Love the scary movies, obviously, and Hot Rod. It's just I love movies like this. Walk Hard. This is just right there. This is right there with all of them.
What kind of comedy do you think this is? Like, what is there a name for it?
I guess it's just. I would say it's a parody, but I don't know too much about summer camp movies. I mean, other than like some of the Disney ones, like Heavyweights and things like that.
Heavyweights, that's awesome.
Like, I guess I never really watched too many raunchy summer camp movies. It's always been either horror movies or
Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
very camp famous.
Which I mean, I know the first time I watched it, whenever Andy let that kid drown, I was like, oh, there's definitely gonna be like a after credit scene with that kid coming back to life. Yeah. All right, bro. So we're gonna hop into some.
And what does it mean to say that something is camp?
Like something's campy? I think it's supposed to be like kind of cheesy and over the top.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess it makes sense that this is kind of over the top.
Okay.
So the actors, they actually lived at the summer camp. So Paul Rudd told Entertainment Weekly, "We lived at the camp. We slept there. It was like being in summer camp and everybody hung out with everybody. It was the only thing I ever worked on where people would just go watch scenes being shot, not so much to support, but because it was just really fun. There was a very communal feel to the whole thing. And if somebody wasn't working, they would make the run into town, which was about half an hour away, and get all the beer and stuff for that night."
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know. So, and this, obviously there's so many different like actors that we know now that are super famous and successful. And this maybe launched a lot of their careers. Elizabeth Banks.
Except Coop. He didn't really do a whole lot.
Michael Showalter. Yeah. I think he just became mainly just a writer after Signs. Really, you never really saw him anything. I know he did The State and all that, so everybody really liked him. And I think he had a big run, like all the State videos on YouTube and stuff, like have like tons of views just because
State videos.
Yeah, well, him, David Wayne, and Michael Ian Black, they had like a show called The State.
Oh, nice.
And it's kind of just a parody show. You should watch some of it. It's off the wall like this. They kind of start off like a normal thing, and then next thing you know, you're like, what has happened in these 2 minutes? But so Elizabeth Banks was working as a cocktail waitress in New York at the time of filming, and Bradley Cooper missed his own graduation from the actor studio in order to attend. Paul Rudd says that Wet Hot was the primary reason Adam McKay let him join the cast of Anchorman, and Elizabeth Banks was reportedly cast in The 40-Year-Old Virgin because Seth Rogen was also a Wet Hot fan, apparently.
Wet Hot fan.
Wet Hot fan. So the movie was hated by critics, obviously. Well, I don't know if you knew it was obvious, but I feel like movies like this, comedies just get bad rap, like by critics. So with a budget of $1.8 million and a return of only $300,000, Wet Hot was considered a disastrous failure. Rudd's agent didn't want him to do the film because the protagonist doesn't end up with a girl. According to EW, Salon.com described the film as a model of how not to make anything. The Oregonian called it agony on a stick and gave it an F.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
But I mean, I feel like, obviously, I just feel like this is not in the critics' wheelhouse, especially in the 2000s, when I feel like most critics were just
way
older people,
time,
right?
Sure.
I mean, let a high schooler or a college kid review this movie. This is just not for like some 50-year-old guy,
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, I just got done watching. I don't know. I don't know what movies came out in 2001 off the top of my head.
We like Frasier, but this is too much.
And so I guess they lived at the camp. It was a hardcore party zone, apparently.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So the now sober Janine Garofalo said, "I was drunk 90% of the time." Amy Poehler describes the evenings as, "It was like high school. One of us would go on a booze run and it would be like, get me Jägermeister. And whatever they would bring back, you would get trashed." Garofalo even admitted that the alcohol in close quarters resulted in a quite a bit of bunk hopping between the cast
Oh,
members.
snap.
Hell yeah.
Just like the children.
Right. And so apparently it rained 23 days out of the 28 of filming.
Nice.
It made it insanely difficult for them to film. Man.
Sorry. Did you ever go to summer camps?
No, have you?
No. Just like church camps, like day camps and stuff.
It was at Camp Towanda in Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Huh.
No, I kind of wish I went to camp. I mean, the church I went to used to, like, we'd go for like a 3-day weekend to Fall Creek Falls just for there. It was fun.
Those are fun. That's fun.
It was really fun.
We went to like the beach one time, and like there's so much church stuff that you couldn't even go to the beach.
Bro.
We were right across the street from the beach and like hardly ever went. I think I went one time.
Yeah.
The whole time I was there.
You're like, well, why are we here?
Exactly.
Why did we go here? Jesus brings the beach to you, Jason.
Yeah, man.
He is the beach. Jesus is beach. So apparently whenever it came to like, because it rained so much, it was kind of the worst on Elizabeth Banks, who most of her scenes were in a bikini and swimming in the freezing cold lake.
Oh. Nipply in here.
A bit nipply. And as we were talking earlier, there is a commentary of just farts. Showalter and Wayne decided to add a commentary on the DVD that was only a collection of looped fart sounds. Wayne said, the idea for the fart track was similar to how a lot of the ideas we had come up with. One of the others of us being like, there should be an extra track on the DVD that's only farts, right? And the other one would be like, of course, you don't even have to say that out loud. Of course, that's what we're going to do.
We're already working on it.
So good. Oh, and so Christopher Meloni met Michael Showalter at a chess class.
Oh, wow.
Meloni said that he didn't meet Wayne or Showalter in a professional setting before the film, but he did know Michael Showalter through a chess shop. Meloni continues, it was called the Chess Shop on Thompson Street. I used to play chess there, and he and I played chess a few times, but I didn't know his name or anything. When asked about his audition, Meloni added, I remember walking in the room and I saw Michael and I was like, oh shit, I wish I hadn't beaten him in chess.
That's so nerdy.
Yeah.
And cool.
And you should love this one because you love Super Troopers. Apparently, Super Troopers stole Wet Hot's buzz. Wayne and Showalter had big hopes when Wet Hot was accepted to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival, but sadly it did not lead to any interest in the film. According to Garofalo, there was a bidding war over a movie called Super Troopers by Broken Lizard, which eclipsed us. People thought, oh, this is the same type of thing. The state people have put out a movie, and here's Broken Lizard. Let's go with Broken Lizard. Because they were kind of like more popular at the time.
God damn, it's a funny ass movie.
Yeah. I know, we'll have to do that soon.
That's going to be my double feature.
I haven't actually, I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
Holy shit, man. The opening scene is just the funniest shit.
The meow thing?
Yes,
the meow thing?
all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. It's wild. So I'll just do a quick rundown of this.
And the kids in the car with the drugs. That's what I was referring to.
I don't even
mostly.
Oh yeah, because they're all Don't they like eat it? Yeah.
He has to eat the pot and the mushrooms. You are freaking out, man.
All right, so Janine Garofalo is Beth, David Hyde Pierce is Henry, Michael Showalter is Coop, Margaret Moreau is Katie, Paul Rudd Andy, Zach Orth JJ, Christopher Meloni is Gene, A.D. Miles is Gary, Molly Shannon's Gail, Joe Truglio, I cannot say his
Truglio?
It's like I know how to say it, but I can't make my mouth and my tongue make it work. Plays Neil, Ken Marino, who's really funny and has like a lot of underrated movies that he's like kind of the funniest part in. Because I was like, oh man, this guy's super funny. He must have been in a lot of things whenever I first saw him. And then it's like, oh, he's just like a side character, and then eventually disappeared. Michael Ian Black is McKinley, Bradley Cooper Ben, Amy Poehler Susie, Marissa Ryan Abby, Elizabeth Banks Lindsay. And now we go. Oh wait, there is actually one more thing.
Who's the lady who was in Superstar?
Molly Shannon.
Molly Shannon. Did you notice anything about the shirt that she wore? And
no, I didn't.
Bradley Cooper is wearing the same shirt.
Really?
And I was wondering if anybody else was wearing the same shirt. If they just like switched it on different characters every once in a while.
I don't know.
It's that yellow Lacoste.
Yeah. I wonder if they did that. Because there is like a lot of, I was reading the goofs and I was like, oh yeah, there are like a lot of funny kind of like purposeful issues in the movie. All right, there's one more thing I want to do as a fact before we hop in. So in a July 2015 Entertainment Weekly interview, David Wayne said that the ordeal that Victor underwent while trying to get back from leading a canoe trip to make out with Abby was based on an experience he had while he was a camp counselor.
Oh, no.
He says,
just throwing kids out of the car on the way.
He says, I had just turned 16. I was assigned to drive a group of camp members to an overnight camping trip and leave the next morning with another counselor and head back to camp. But I had just met this girl at the camp, and I was so excited to see her that I decided, no, I'm going to leave late at night and race back to camp, even though I barely knew how to drive. So I cranked up the tunes, pedal to the metal, and I was driving through pitch black, winding unpaved roads as fast as I could, in hopes of making out with this girl. And about 2 miles away from the campsite, but still in the middle of the state park, I smashed hard into a tree.
Oh, no.
I lodged the fender deep into the tire, rendering the van utterly undrivable, and was stuck in the middle of the woods. I had no idea how to get back. I couldn't see my hand in front of me, but luckily I did end up wandering back to find the campsite with the kids and the counselor. And they're like, what the hell is wrong with you? After that, they initiated a policy that junior counselors weren't allowed to drive vehicles at camp.
Yeah.
I eventually did get to make out with the girl.
Nice. I was going to say, like, he got all the way back and then forgot his chewing gum.
Yeah.
And can't make out.
Can't make out. I know. It's so good when they do that. It's so funny. It's like, we got to sit here and awkwardly just stare at each other while we're chewing gum. It's like, we'll just never know. We never went to camp, you know.
I know.
We'll never know this.
My little sister
adventure.
went to camp. Maybe I could ask her.
Like, how many dudes wrecked a van trying to make out with you?
Any kids drowned?
She's like, all of them tried to. We'll get through this as fast as we can. Our boy Jason's over here dying. His tooth is in pain.
Yeah, yuck mouth.
Got that yuck mouth. All right, so we're going to hop into the film. So we got the movie starts with some camp counselors smoking and making out, and you got the song Jane by the Jefferson Starship playing. Kind of rules. Song really goes hard.
Great party song.
And then we cut to a bunch of kids making out and scrambling back to their bunks.
Everyone does a walk of shame.
Yeah, everybody.
All the counselors were just drunk the night before.
Yeah, and it's just like all the kids, none of them were in there. All the guys were in completely different bunks. As they're running, Beth's like, you shouldn't be out of your bunks.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble. We see Cooper and Katie waking up and getting their kids ready. Everyone gathers at
So someone I showed this movie to said that waking someone up with Dio is like a thing that people used to do back, I guess, in the 80s.
Oh, really?
With this song.
I had no idea.
Had one guitar. Yeah.
God, that song fucking rules too. God, this has a great soundtrack. Awesome. But so everyone gathers at the flagpole. Coop watches Katie and Andy make out like crazy. It's the grossest making out. Tongues
so
are going.
Much tongue.
Tongues going everywhere. It's wild. But apparently Katie saw him watching. She starts picking on him.
He bites his lip.
Yeah.
He's just so awkward.
So weird. But so she starts picking on him and says she wants to hook him up on the last day. He doesn't want it, but she insists. And then as she walks away, I want you inside me. Like, what? Yeah. Nothing. Michael Showalter's like his like childish performance where it's like, I guess I won't eat a bunch of onions and garlic.
Burger cheese.
So funny. So Victor comes up and asks if she wants to fuck him.
Yeah.
Like, did she ask you to fuck me?
That's why she's talking to you.
Why else would she talk to me? She definitely wants to fuck me.
Why else would she be talking to you? Yeah, she wants to fuck me.
I do remember the first time watching it, I was like, this guy's never had sex. No. It was just immediate. Immediately I knew.
Do you think that was his first kiss with Abby at the bus?
I think so. Yeah. Definitely. So Beth goes up to a random guy named Henry. He's just a guest living in this house on this camp.
He's staying there for the summer.
Yeah.
I love when he first comes out and he immediately spills his coffee all over him.
Dude, that shit is so funny in this movie. It's the smallest, stupidest little things that just get me, man.
Yeah.
They talk. They're like super awkward. Like him, like she going for like a handshake and hands the garden hole.
I've done that before. Not with a shovel, but
and then like she just like completely breaks it. It's so good.
And then you get the clay pot smashing.
Like, and it does it like 2 times in 10 seconds. It's so good.
I love how awkward they are trying to talk to each other.
Yeah, like the line, I'm the camp director. How about yourself? No, I don't work over here. I know. I'm the camp director. Oh, yeah, you're right.
She's the same.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a professor. He's like, oh, what do you teach? Oh, like I said before, astrophysics.
Yeah. It's just back and forth. So they have no idea how to have a human conversation. Yeah, Henry's an astrophysicist. She asks him to teach the kids about space. And at first he's like, no. She's like, oh, come on.
I said no.
No. I said no. And then she just walks off. Oh, man. So Victor talks about how he wants to have sex. It's the only girl, and he talks about Abby, the girl that's like sitting there like deep throating a spoon. She's obviously she's coming off as like the slut of the camp, I guess. Yeah. And apparently it's the only girl he hasn't boned. He's boned every girl there, apparently. Yep. So then we meet Gene and an Agro-Vietnam war vet.
He slaps the potatoes.
Slaps the potatoes. And they're like, I need the potatoes. And he like, gives it to him. It's like, yeah, good. He gets weird with Gary all the time.
He's my favorite character in this movie.
He's wild.
So fucking good.
And so that's one thing I did not. The only thing I knew this actor from was strictly Law and Order.
Yeah.
That's it. So
you're right. Yeah. When I was trying to think of what he was in. I could not remember.
He's
for the
in
life
like,
of me.
I think the sci-fi show Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen like
never seen it.
All of those Law and Orders I watched.
Yeah. And he's so good in those Law and Orders. And you just never think that he was a comedic actor. Yeah. And then it's like, oh,
he's amazing.
Everyone starts as a comedic actor. That's right. And then we see a nerdy kid ask some girls if they want to play D&D.
Nice.
It's not working.
Man, he really goes for it. Kudos to this kid.
Well, hey, you know what? You're going to be nerdy, at least be confident.
You miss 100 shots, 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
And he takes them all and probably misses them all too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just gotta play in the realm that you.
And he's got the fucking blanket cape going on. He's really rocking it.
Really cool. So while at breakfast, Beth sees Henry come in asking for the indoor kids.
Yeah, he can't say it right away.
Yeah. He's like, "Where's the people that don't like do a lot? They're not like super popular. With the indoor kids."
Yeah.
He's gonna spend the day doing science projects with them.
Oh man.
So Gene is coming down on Gary. We see. He's
the Vietnam.
Yeah. They got to make some like juice, and he's like, the powder pockets are in the cabinet next to my dick cream. Wait, what did you say?
Stick team.
Stick team. No, you didn't. I'll be right back.
Leave me alone. Shut up.
Oh, we see Beth. He tells Victor he has to take some kids out on the river. He gets super pissed.
Yeah, because Abby picks him up by his crotch. Oh, yeah.
It's later, yeah.
Garofalo's like, oh, let me put us another way. You're going to fucking do it.
Yeah, she's like, God. So Susie and Ben come up to the kids and tell them there's a talent show. They are very intense about it. They're like the classic like theater kids. It's got to be perfect.
Leave your bullshit and bad attitude at the door.
Yeah, so good. It's like all that jazz, but like this camp counselor. So,
but yeah, you see, he's wearing the yellow Lacoste shirt, and he's got the jersey. He's got like a coat, like a sport jacket over it or something.
Yeah,
and then the collar's popped.
I wonder if they just
and then Molly Shannon's wearing the same thing, wearing it the same way.
I wonder if they had a limited budget and they're just like switching out the shirts,
sharing shirts.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Or it was probably just. I mean, these are all comedians essentially, so they're probably like, oh, man, it'd be funny if like just sometimes between shirts, like we just switch our shirts. That'd be great.
We've only got enough shirts for one scene at a time.
Yeah. So we see Andy and Katie making out. Katie,
he's like all up in her neck.
Yeah,
it's like, quit smothering me.
And like if you like really pay attention, he has so much slobber on his like chin. It's so gross.
Oh, so hot.
Katie wants to spend time with him, but he gets super upset every time she asks to hang out. It's like he's an asshole. Cool. It's like, God, you're smothering me.
Fuck you, dyke.
Yeah. It's like, but anyways, baby, I'll see you later. Okay, I love you.
Yeah.
Then he like goes into the pole and like spins around, like
flips around.
flicking her off the whole time. His movements in this movie is just so good.
They're so funny. Like he's such a child.
His like exhausted, constant like look and walk later.
When he has to pick up the plate off the floor.
It's the funniest. I think that's the scene that really like gets people into the movie whenever Paul Rudd's doing that, because that kind of gets like the biggest laugh in this house, I feel like.
Oh, man.
So McKinley, JJ, and Gary talk about a kid that is being sent home because he filmed himself J.O.ing.
Was it a kid or was it a counselor?
I don't know. He seemed a little older than like the younger kids, but he didn't look 30. So it's really hard to tell if he's just an actual.
Like, because then they're like, oh, where's the video? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because
Like,
McKinley's like, man, we got to get that video. We really got to find out where that video is.
it makes me, that's what makes me think it was a counselor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. Well, they're all supposed to be 16 and 17. Like,
And that's why his parents are picking him up.
Yeah. Even like the 30-year-old adults.
Yeah.
So we cut to arts and crafts. Gail is running the class. She's separated from her husband, we learn.
It just turns into a therapy session.
Yeah, when a kid has to draw with markers, she starts to kind of have a breakdown about it, and the kids have to start consoling her. One crayon.
And her wedding ring is in the basket.
Yeah, and it's only a brown crayon. She's like, why can't we just use this? Don't you dare talk to me that way. Molly Shannott's so good. We'll have to do Superstar eventually.
Hell yeah.
So while Victor is getting ready to go, Abby walks up. Abby comes up, sucks dick. We never got to know each other. They start chewing gum and then immediately start aggressively making
right
out.
in front of those kids.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
She tells him not to go, and Victor says he's got to. Victor zooms off, saying he will be back tonight. So this is like 7 or 8 in the morning. They drive 2 hours. I mean, really, he didn't have to rush that much to get back. I mean, he was going to be back in like 4 hours, and it'd only be 12.
Well, it was supposed to be an overnight trip.
Yeah, but I mean, like in terms of like why he's rushing hard, it's like, dude, you got plenty of time to get back
so
tonight.
horny.
Yeah.
He has to do it.
We cut to the camp DJ. McKinley says he has to take a shower. It's just like a real
So
random.
you're gross. You haven't taken a shower all summer long.
Gross. Cooper, Ben, McKinley, Katie, Susie, JJ, and Lindsay are all together talking about meeting up in 10 years. It's great. I just put the whole dialogue here because it's just too good.
I used this joke once.
Really?
When the appointment I had to make with the VA, and it was like 8 months later. I was like, "That's the soonest you can get me in." And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Good," because I've got something at 11.
Yeah. But so you got Susie. You guys, I'm really gonna miss this place. Coop, me too. Ben, hey, let's all promise that in 10 years from today, we'll meet again and we'll see what kind of people we've blossomed into. Susie, yeah. Ben, what time do you want to meet? JJ, you mean 10 years from now? Coop, let's meet in the morning so we can make a day of it. Susie, okay, so what is it? Is it like 9 or 9:30? Coop, well, let's say 9. That way we can be here by 9:30. McKinley, well, no, why don't we say 9:30 and then make it your beeswax to be here by 9:30? I mean,
we'll be adults by then.
Yeah, we'll all be in our late 20s by then. So I just don't see any reason why we can't be in places on time. Gary, okay then, it's settled. 9:30 it is. All agreed? Together, agreed. McKinley, good, because I have something at 11. Gary, you just have a trapper keeper full of appointments, right? McKinley, no, I just have something at 11 and I can't change it because I already moved it twice.
10 years from now.
Dude. And this movie didn't make money or have great reviews. That's like a masterpiece in comedy just right there. And it's because it's like it's funny dialogue, obviously, but it's the actors.
Just absurd.
They just sell it. They're so good. So we cut to Henry is looking up at the sky. It makes it seem like danger is approaching. People are like, what's wrong? It's like, nothing. Not yet, at least. It's like, okay.
Is
what's
there
this
a
about?
UFO? But it's because it seemed like whenever Henry was talking to Jeannie Garofalo in the beginning, and she's like, "Oh, space, the final frontier," and he got super pissed about it.
And then makes a bunch of Star Trek jokes later. Like all the kids make Star Trek jokes, and he has no problem. But he got real because she's like, "The final frontier." Okay, well, I'll see you later then. It's like, okay, dude, chill the fuck out. It's so good. It's just like the cut into like people completely changing their personalities on the dime is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to Andy. He's in like the mess hall and he throws his plate and drink on the floor. Beth comes in. It's like, pick that up. He's like, oh, I'll do it later. No, do it now. It's just doing it in like the classic, like childish, lazy kid way of just like, oh. And
he's
then
like, there.
and he does it, and he's like, there. Then puts his glasses on real cool, like he's like a badass. And it's like, what is fucking wrong with you, man? So good. So we're back to Gail, who's being comforted by the kids she is teaching. They're just kind of getting more like personal with her.
Super weird.
And like, there's one kid that seems like to take and lead on this and is super sympathetic with her. So weird. We learn Beth has a meeting with the counselors, is telling everybody what they got to do for the day. Apparently, there's goats that pooped in. I think her name's like Nancy's shoes, and she's really pissed off about it. So JJ and McKinley watch Steve, who talks like a robot, just like a random guy who just acts really weird. I don't know. You don't think he's going to be important, but he ends up being. So Beth asks Katie how to be hot because she wants to impress Henry. One of the best lines in the movie. It's like, what do I wear?
Like
do I put on a clean pair of pants? Katie tells her to wear a dress and do her hair. It's like, oh, you're so smart. It's like, put a little bit of mousse in there. What do you mean, like a mousse?
Yes.
She's like, no, like styling gel. It's like, wow, you're something else, Katie.
I love Katie.
I know, she's good. So we cut to JJ and Andy acting as lifeguards, but not really. They're just kind of letting kids do whatever. And then like one kid comes up and just like, it's like, hey, can I take the boat out? Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
He talks about writing in his journal.
Yeah. And then like we see Lindsay kind of walking around, and Andy apparently wants to get with Lindsay even though he's with Katie. She comes up, Lindsay, what you doing? Andy, writing in my journal. I write my thoughts on it every day. Lindsay, oh, you mean journal? Andy, yeah, whatever. I guess I'm not all smart like you. And then
the kid drowning.
Yeah. We cut to Coop and Katie are trying to figure out who should get with Coop. And like they're like mention one girl, it's like, she's kind of a slut. You don't seem like a slut type. Coop, I love sluts. Sluts rock. It's just, it's got to be the right slut, It's so good.
Oh, Coop, so shy.
I mean, it's like the movie doesn't even slut shame. It's like pro sluts. It's great.
It's
a very progressive movie.
Very progressive.
But it's like a cute and dumb, very dumb conversation with Katie.
When he plays the name association game.
Yeah, well, there's like, where would you want to go? It's like, I'd love to go, the land of pasta, Italy. And then he asks, like, where would you like to go? And it's like, Italy. And I'm like, what is this conversation? It's so dumb. It's amazing.
He's just he creates those awkward moments. They're beautiful.
He Michael Showalter crushes the awkwardness in this movie. He like lands it. I'm like, wow, yeah, this is kind of actually how it feels to be in high school. Trying to talk to somebody you have nothing interesting to say to.
And you just keep going on and on.
Yeah, it's like, I have to keep talking. This person will eventually like me, right?
Yep.
So then we cut to Andy and Lindsay making out, and there's like a kid starts drowning and they don't help and dies. So then next thing you see, Beth comes up to Henry, who is teaching. Beth has her hair all done up. And he's like, it's very chic. And it's like, what is this haircut? It actually kind of rolled, and she pulled it off though. And then Beth pretends to be an astrophysics, like into astrophysics, and bells when she can't come up with anything to say at all. She's like, name one astrophysicist.
Name one astrophysicist.
And he's like, and he's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, just nothing comes out of it. Yeah. And then we cut back to Andy.
It's like when someone asks you to like name one of their songs of this band that you say you like.
Yeah, and you're like, oh crap, I don't know any of them.
Name all of their songs.
Like,
you can't even
can barely name one song of anybody.
No, I just like them. No, you can't like them unless you can name everything.
So Andy gets approached by another kid. It's like, have you seen my swim buddy? It's like, you better find him, or I'm going to tell him you drowned. And then he takes them into the van, the same van that Victor took to take the kids to camping. Just throws them on the side of the road for letting a kid drown.
Apparently, just rolls.
Yeah. Apparently, there was a scene where he was actually going to end up killing another kid.
Oh god!
Like purposely so that nobody would figure out. So like when he does this, he's actually originally was supposed to be killing the kids, I guess. But Michael Ian Black's father, or David Wayne's father, said, if you do that, I will disown you, apparently. It's like, Like, well, I've raised you better than this. It's like, well, they already kind of killed a couple of kids in this movie without it.
And you're leaving him for dead out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Anyway, that's bad enough.
So Beth asks Nancy where to find a book on astrophysicists. She's like, Beth, the library. And I love during the scene, the 2 times, because immediately Henry comes up and asks for, it's like, where's a book on camp directing? She's like, Henry, library. The best part is her little thing she's knitting gets completely different sizes every time.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
So good.
That was great.
But yeah, it's just like, this is just one of those little parts where it's like, this is a nothing scene, but why is it so funny? It's like, there's almost very little comedy in it, but like, I'm just like constantly like laughing during it.
Yeah, when they go to the library, there's like the sections for camp directing and astrophysics.
Right next to each other. So Beth heads out to town. Nancy runs up and asks like for something at the pharmacy because her husband's coming later. She's like, I need some lube for my pussy.
She just runs off.
Yeah.
Like, they do
and everybody has like the goofy run where they're like flailing their arms around.
Coop has that one where he just takes off running and stands next to a building.
Yes, that's when they come back. Dude, it's so funny. It's so random. It's like, who came up with that? So Coop, JJ, Katie, McKinley, and Susie, they go to town with her. They all jump in the back. Where they eventually, at first it starts like they're just kind of smoking cigarettes. They're just kind of playing around, eating fries in the most insane way possible from McDonald's. And then all of a sudden they start smoking, and then they start smoking weed. And Beth's drugged in. Their camp director, Beth, is into it. And then all of a sudden they start doing cocaine. And then next thing you know, Janine Garofalo and JJ are robbing an old lady from her purse. And then they end up in a heroin den. And it looks like Katie died.
She's having an overdose over there.
And then we cut to them arriving, and they're all completely fine. And it turns out they're only gone an hour.
Yeah, even if it's only for an hour.
And then like Coop says goodbye to Katie, and it's like, see you soon. And then the camera slightly pans, and then you have 4 of them standing with their face to the wall. And then Coop just goes and joins them. It's never talked about, and that's it. It's such a fun little Easter egg. Like, I don't even know. It reminds me of those dolls I think we brought up in The Exorcist or whatever with Dakota, the dolls that just kind of like stand, like you set them up next to the wall and they kind of look like little kids that are in trouble.
Like in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, we can't get away from those things.
It was, the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
At the very end.
Dude, that actually could be it, because I think it was only like 2 years later since. That'd be funny if that's what it was.
It's Coop in the corner.
I did try to look it up. I didn't see them talk about it at all. That's why I need the commentary for this movie. So when it gets to that scene, hopefully they talk about it. So Victor and Neil are driving to the river. Victor confesses that he's a virgin. Neil gets really upset. Yeah. You're a loser.
He's like, oh my God, I'm in the same car as you.
I feel like Joe Trulio, I cannot say his name. My tongue will not move out of the way to say it. Him and Chris Parnell, I feel like they always kind of play similar characters, except Joe is a little bit nerdier about it.
Yeah.
Chris Parnell?
Sure.
Yeah, right, okay. Just make sure. So Gene and Gary are peeling potatoes. And this is where it's like, now finish up them taters. I'm going to fondle my sweaters. Gary, come on. What? Finish up those taters. And then what did you say? And then what did I say? You said you were going to fondle
some cheddar
sweaters? No, I didn't. I said fondue the cheddar. I was thinking about making fondue with cheddar cheese for dinner tonight, Gary. No, Gene, that's not what you said. Gene, that is what I said. Fondue cheddar. And then he like walks off one way. He's like, I got to go to my camp real quick. And then Gary looks down and or picks up a can and says, maybe you should talk with him. And it's like, okay. Don't know what that's about. So
it's not all in Gene's head.
The thing is, if the can didn't talk, right, that it'd still be funny that he picked up a can and be like, it still would have worked for the movie. Just like, yeah,
so
okay,
just out of nowhere.
That makes sense. Then we cut back to McKinley telling the DJ to shower. And then it pans over and we see that he's plugged into nothing and not talking to anybody.
He's a psychopath.
He's just preparing for radio.
Hell yeah, man.
Oh,
I loved radio when I was that age.
Yeah, I
really wanted to be Casey Kasem.
Dude, it's weird because in high school, I wanted to be a radio DJ. And now I'm doing podcasts.
Fuck yeah, man.
So Gail is still getting encouragement from the class, and specifically one boy who starts like massaging her shoulder. It's like, oh man, you're so good at this. And it's like, what's happening here?
They're falling in love.
But it's weird, but this is such a summer camp type of thing where it's like, especially like older, like 80s and 70s, like, oh yeah, one of the kids got with one of the camp directors. Hell yeah. That's just like a classic, like, like 80s and
something
70s
like every
thing.
teenage boy, like they're always like a rumor of somebody doing it.
And like this, they made it look like, you know, more accurate where it's like, hey, this is probably an actual like 13-year-old. So this is what they look like. So when you put that in your movie, it's really weird, by the way, guys. So Victor and Neil get the kids to the river and tells them all to go. Victor is going back to the camp and leaving Neil with the kids. If you don't like it, you can go ahead and fuck yourself.
They were like, we can't make it down the river without you.
And so we see Victor is driving and singing, and it's like all nice and normal. And out of nowhere, oh my God, drive straight to a tree.
Like it just jumped out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he's like looking straight ahead, so he knows exactly what's in front of him. So he just drove into the tree himself. Oh, it's one of the best jokes in the movie.
He's so like stricken.
Yeah. And then we cut to Abby, who ends up actually listening to the same song. Then all of a sudden Gary comes up and is like, hey, what's up?
She's like, with anybody who has gum.
It's like, yeah, come sit down. And he doesn't say anything, he just pulls out some gum. She's like, all right, let's go.
I know where this is going.
Victor starts running back. And then we cut to the kids and Neil.
I'm coming, Abby.
Yeah, we cut to Neil on the raft with the kids. The kids are like, we don't know how to navigate this river. Only Victor does. You have to go get him.
And he just leaves.
Yeah. What I love though is like Neil's, I'll get him. Dead or alive. It's like, alive. We need him alive. There's no reason for him to be dead. And then he immediately hops off, and then I guess he's just right next to a camp of people and hops on their motorcycle and drives off.
He can't quite get it to go.
And then we see him chasing down Victor. But Victor's able to lose him by jumping over a hell bay in the middle of the road.
It's so pathetic.
And Neil's like, you son of a bitch, you got away.
He's like, he like gets to a stop.
It's like, okay.
God, can't believe he jumped over that bale of hay.
I was on the edge of my seat during the scene. I was like, is he going to get him? So JJ, Gary, and McKinley are watching some counselor girls getting ready to swim. McKinley walks off, and JJ and Gary say he always gets so uncomfortable when talking about sex. We should hook him up with a girl.
They start going through all the women while he's
but turns out he's gay and goes into the shed and has sex with Ben. It's very sensual. It seems like to be like the most I don't know, normal relationship in the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're just like an actual couple in the middle of this movie.
Well, in secret.
Yeah.
It's a secret love. Because Ben and Amy Poehler are kind of a thing.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. Well, I'm assuming Susie likes Ben, but Ben's like, no.
Yeah.
No. We're just faking this.
we're just do theater together.
So then Coop is pumping up the kids for a big baseball game. He's giving like a classic thing.
Like the Bad News Bears kind of thing.
And he's like, all right, and here's what's going to happen. We're going to go against this ambiguously evil other camp. And then we're going to be down late, but then we're going to make a heroic comeback in the last inning.
With a special play.
Yeah, a special trick play. And it's like one of the kids like, this is kind of well-worn territory. Do we really have to do this? It's like, y'all don't want to do this? Okay, I'll tell the other camp. They pull up. So Coop goes up to the other camp director and says, hey, they're saying this is well-worn territory and they don't really want to do it. It's like, yeah. So we're not going to do this in the third act. And he said, no. So good. Ugh. And they all just kind of run away.
Oh, man.
And then we see JJ and Gary see McKinley and Susie run into the woods. They're like, yeah, they're going to go have sex. But it turns out Ben and McKinley are getting married.
Cool ceremony.
Yeah. And it's like you got Coop there, the guitar guy there.
Somebody's playing a flute.
Susie's playing the flute. And they're like, ooh, kinky. Beth's there.
They're like, aren't they hitting the beach ball back to each other or something?
No, not there.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they kind of call him a derogatory term, and it seems like they hate them. And it's like, oh man, that sucks that this movie's gonna do this. And then we cut to capture the flag. Beth, Ben, and Susie talk to Steve. Beth says he will let him participate in the talent show. It's just because at first he's like talking like a robot, and Beth's like, stop talking like a robot. She's like, okay. And she feels bad that he's so weird, so he wants to like, hey, you haven't made any friends. Come be a part of the talent show. Whatever you've been doing, you can do it as your talent.
Yes.
It's like, oh, yeah, what has he been doing?
Did you ever play Capture the Flag? I never did. Like, I never knew, like, it was so weird to me.
We had
like
cones. It was like a weird, in gym, we had like this weird cone game. There's
you
like
steal
2
the
cones.
bacon?
And like, there's 2 cones, someone would guard it, and if you got the cone and they tagged you had to go sit out for like 2 minutes, and then you got back in the game, something like that. It was like the funnest game that we did in gym. I loved it. I was really good at it too. Because I was fast as a kid. Don't know what happened. But anyway, Susie and Ben, they're pretty upset. Amy Poehler does her classic, how dare you? So I've been watching Parks and Rec, and like she does it all the time.
I restarted it the other day.
And then she like knocks a clipboard out of Ben's hand. He goes to pick it up. She hits it again.
Stop picking it up.
Picks it up. Stop picking up the clipboard. Amy Poehler, a fucking genius, man.
He's incredible. So
we see Andy and Katie. They're talking. When Katie asks to spend time, he flips out and bails in the middle of the conversation. You're smothering me. God. It's like, bye, I love you. And then we're back to Henry teaching the kids. He starts crying when he tells the kids he's just an associate professor. They're like, what does that mean? Like one of the girls like, stop, don't ask this. How could you? It's like, it's okay. It means that I'm less than
an actual professor.
It's so good. Horrible. And then Beth comes up and then starts joining in on a cry because it's like, what's wrong? It's like, we're just having ourselves a little cry. She makes them all go watch the Capture the Flag game. She impresses Henry by saying a lot of science stuff. What I like,
like later we can learn about quasars.
Yeah, and like I love this because the kids kind of all just like scatter off, but they all run in
different
completely
directions.
And then you can see the whole time the guy that runs into the woods is kind of running,
still going,
just running. So good. Then Henry starts talking about random camp stuff and like
about being a camp director because he learned all about it.
It's like, okay, like, did you really need a book on this? Like, everybody knows this is what they do.
It's like learning about your love interests.
Yeah,
but it's like she's probably not really interested in camp directing. It's just her job.
She's damn good at it though. So Lindsay goes up to Andy covered in barbecue. She's trying to make out with Andy.
You got shit all over your
face.
Like,
ugh. Like, what is this? Like, you don't want to make out? And he's like, hey, we can make out, just not here. We learn that Henry is up for tenure. Beth says he will write a letter of recommendation. I love it. Every time it's like, yeah, I'll do it. What's the address? It's like, no, I couldn't do it. Says the address. It's like, and then who do I make it out to? No, you can't do it.
Like, oh, wow, you're really doing this.
It's like, okay, it's this. It's like, I love it.
He knows everything about it.
Yeah. And then Henry and Beth start making out. Aww. And in the Capture the Flag game, all of a sudden a Jamaican track runner shows up and wins.
It takes the flag. It's like Usain Bolt.
Yeah. And then Coop runs the dive at him, but like falls, and like you just see everybody going crazy watching it. And like he caught the eye of Katie, and then all of a sudden we see Abby start making out with JJ.
Everybody's just making out so much. So, I wanted to watch this with my oldest daughter, but my wife won't let me. She says too sexually charged.
How old's your daughter?
They're 11.
Oh man, I watched like
12.
Freddie got fingered at like 8.
Nice.
It'd probably been okay.
I turned out okay. Like some sausage.
I turned out okay, right? Anybody?
Perfect.
Help.
No notes.
So Andy and Lindsay are on a boat. They start making out, and then he says, ugh, you taste like a burger. I don't like you anymore. And while this has happened, another kid drowns while on like this water skis. And then all of a sudden another kid says, when's it my turn? And then he turns to the kid, and next thing you know, we see him throwing him out of the same van that's like crashed into a tree. So Katie and Coop hang out with some goats and they kind of start flirting. God, dude, this part is so good. Like from start to finish. So they're both cold and start And because Katie says, "Ooh, I'm cold," and then Coop's like, "Yeah, me too." And then she's like, "Do you want to borrow my jacket?" Puts it on him, and Katie, "I'm colder than I was before." And he's like, "Oh, would you like my flannel?" Gives it to her. She's like, "Oh, this is so warm. I love this shirt." And he's like, "Yeah, it's my favorite shirt, so I'm gonna want it back."
Please.
And it's like, "When do you want it back?" Right now. She takes it off, gives it back to him.
And is wearing it over the coat that she gave him.
Oh, so good. And then they like start making out, and I love it because you got the goats walking around them. And then one goat's just bang behind it, and they're doing the classic goat. And then it pans over a little more to the left, and then you just got one goat looking straight at the camera.
That's pretty good.
It's like, what are we doing?
They're animals.
So funny. And then we cut to Gail. She's practiced shooting down her ex with the kids. So cut to Coop telling his parents that he met someone. There's the nose joke where, so it's obvious that the parents, because this is a Jewish summer camp, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't know that.
So, yeah, it's supposed to be a Jewish summer camp. So, like, over the phone, you hear him say something. It's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know if she is. She's got a pretty big nose."
Okay.
Because they're asking if she was
That makes
Jewish.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the call you make to your parents when you're in love.
Yeah, and it's like, "Oh, she's the one."
She's the one.
Beth's watching him. It's like, don't jump the gun just yet. As he's exiting, yeah, don't jump the gun. Beth. So we see the kids practicing for the talent show. Susie is being very dramatic about it, and Coop comes in looking for Katie. He then goes to her bunk. She's with Andy. She's crying. And then Coop looks super happy because of it. She thinks that she's breaking up with Andy.
I feel like if this didn't happen, he would have had to have like killed Paula
right? Yeah,
to make her single again.
Exactly. So at dinner, JJ and Gary come in acting mad, and everybody's like, "Oh no!" But they actually give him a Chase lounge. It's like, "We didn't know if you had one." "Oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what we needed." It's like, y'all are like 16. What are you talking about? Beth tells the kids they need to get ready to leave. She starts saying random Jewish names. He's adding Berg to everything. And I guess Hank Azaria, which he's in like Mystery Men and stuff like that. Apparently, like her and Janine Garofalo are like, right. You know him if you saw him. He's in a ton of movies.
Which person is he in Mystery Men?
I can't remember. I just know he's in it.
Okay.
But yeah, like they have a shout out to him because they named like two of the kids like Azaria, like when she's saying their names out. Apparently he was just hanging out.
Oh, nice.
So Gene starts talking to a can and lets slip he wants to smear mud on his ass. And he's like, "I didn't mean that." And then
if you want to smear mud on your ass,
smear mud on your ass. Can of Soup tells him just to be himself. I love it.
Oh my God.
And of course, it's the crap. I'm totally blanking on his name. John H. Benjamin, right?
Oh wait, yeah.
And he's Archer. He does the voice of Archer. Bob's Burgers.
Love that guy.
And then he's just got one of the best voices in the world.
Dr. Katz. Did you ever watch that one?
Haven't seen
it. It was like the first cartoon from him.
Oh, really? Nice.
He's a psychiatrist to movie stars.
I have to say, he has to be very lucky that he just has a voice people want to put in cartoons because he doesn't change it. He just has the same voice. But it's such a powerful,
so
good voice. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but I love it. So Coop catches up with Katie. She tells Coop what they did earlier was a mistake. He says he has fallen in love with her. He gives this whole speech, but this is just my favorite part because he's like, I'm just a man now. I want to take care of you, and I want to do this, and obviously I want to have sex with you. And then he's like, "I don't care that you're bow-legged, and I don't care that you're bilingual." It's like, why does bilingual have anything to do with it? So good, but she rejects him, and he's all bummed out about it. And then Gene makes an announcement during dinner. He gives a stirring speech that moves all the kids and counselor, and then he starts humping a fridge. It's a very powerful
and they roll
speech.
it away while he's still humping it.
Yeah, and everybody's just cheering for him, and some people are crying. So good. So
he mounts it so like gingerly.
Yeah. And then we cut to a little small scene where the the camp counselors grab the camp DJ and make him shower. And then Henry and Beth are walking. You got this little set of dialogue. Beth, hey, you, penny for your thoughts? Henry, Beth, tomorrow is the least of our problems. Beth, don't tell me. Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me you have crabs. Henry, no. Yes, but that's not the point.
Oh, Henry.
And then he tells her, wait 10 seconds and join me at the picnic table. Then we just sit there on a shot of Janine Garofalo. So, of course, everybody's just setting up the scene right next to it. And then it pans over and they're all like decked out in like science gear. And there's like a whole like setup there.
But it's all like stuff they made in the craft room. And
then he's like, you know how I told you to meet me here 10 seconds ago at the picnic table? This is it. Tells her a piece of Skylab is going to land on the camp and potentially causing a Hindenburg-like accident. But he says he can build a Skylab tracking device that could help save the camp. It's like, well, it's only going to like destroy one building tops. Just don't be at the camp.
It's not a meteor.
So Coop goes to talk to Andy. He got the 1 second bit where it's like, can I talk to you for a second? And he starts talking. All right, that's it. It's like, no, I need to talk to you longer. Like, how long? Like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, ugh, okay. And then Coop asks him to break up with Katie, but he refuses. And he's like, he just says, Coop, fuck off. Like, I will not fuck off. Break up with her. Coop, seriously, fuck off. Then he just runs out.
Maybe like, no, she's hot or something like that. I mean, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like, I totally just want to keep making out with her. So Coop then goes outside, steps on a bucket, slips into a kiddie pool, and the bucket lands on his head. It's so random and amazing. And all of he's like, wow!
It's like the worst day of his life.
Dude. Insane. It's like, I keep saying like it's the best bit of the movie, but it's like, I don't know. It's there.
So funny.
Henry says that he could get a Hopkins Award and tenure if he pulls off saving the camp. We cut to Coop crying. It's like, it's so good. Gene comes up and says that it isn't about the girl. It is, but it isn't. And then it's like, Gene's like, I'll teach you the way. And then, and then Coop, will you teach me?
It is and it isn't.
It's like, will you teach me? What is it? The way? There's absolutely no conversation happening.
Training montage.
Like, absolutely nothing was said there. They have a training montage. There's running, there's dancing, there's snatching something from Gene's hand, and then he eventually is able to do all of it. It's essentially just a Rocky or a Karate Kid montage, essentially.
Because he's got the headband.
Yeah, and like randomly,
the super short shorts.
Yeah, and then randomly Gary's like dancing with him, and it's like, what?
Yeah, did he have like it's showing his midriff on his t-shirt?
Yeah, it's very classic 80s summer camp stuff. And then we are back with Victor, who shows up bloody. And then we see Neil drive up on a motorcycle. Okay, this is what I want to talk to you about the cameo.
Okay.
So I was watching it, and then I was like, so before when Neil was on the motorcycle chasing Victor, it was an obvious stunt man with a terrible wig. So this time when Neil drives up, and if anybody's watched this movie that is listening and loves this movie, go back to that scene when Neil drives up at night at the camp. It's David Cross.
No shit.
Yeah, Tobias Funke.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait a second, that looked like David Cross. And I was like, Natalie, did you notice it? And then I went back and paused it. I was like, that's got to be David Cross. Why is he randomly in this? There's nothing in the credits. There's nothing online about it. I went to his IMDb. It doesn't pop up. So absolutely no information about whether it's David Cross. And if you know it's David Cross, please tell me.
He just didn't want billing at all for it.
Yeah. It's like, it's so funny. But it makes sense because, he's like friends with all those guys.
Yeah.
Michael Showalter and Michael Ian Black. I'm just like, what the heck?
This is random thing.
It's for like 5 seconds. He just gets off the motorcycle. So Neil shows up at the same time. Neil tells Beth the kids are about to go over the Devil's Fall.
He just left them there.
It like keeps cutting back to them right in front of the waterfall. Almost essentially exactly where Neil left them at the beginning. They try to make a phone call, but they can't find the phone and flip the fuck out. They're just going, where is the phone? Where is it? They're all gonna Die! They're just destroying every room they're running in. And then they go to the phone and it's off the hook and they're like, no! It's like, I'm like, I completely forget about that every time. It's like, what is happening? Oh gosh, I took the breath out of me. So Victor finds Abby, who's making out with a kid, and it's the kid that's helps with the dinner announcements and stuff with the guitar guy. Looks like to be, he's like 13 years old. Looks like. So they.
These kids, this is the worst camp ever.
Yeah. While they're making out, she like turns around and sees him like, huh? But she doesn't even remember his name.
Yeah, she's like,
doesn't
even remember talking to him earlier.
But then Neil and Beth show up and tell Victor to be a part of the solution and not the problem. And then Neil and Victor run off to save the kids. And we'll get to that because I love that it takes them 5 seconds to get back just by running.
And how he saves them,
Yeah.
you don't see any of it.
So Henry is working on his Skylab detector. Oh, fuck my cock. You're like, what? And then apparently it's like Skylab will crash in 90 minutes. And apparently it's going to crash on
the talent
They
show.
specifically know where it's going to crash, and all they have to do is tell people to leave.
Get out of the building.
Yeah. And then we cut to Victor. He makes it back to the kids just in time to save them. We see nothing. We hear more planter sounds or like clay pot sounds.
And then, what's his name? Is it Neil that's with him? And he's like, whoa.
It's like, you son of a bitch, you did it. And they kind of like have a high five and laugh and walk off, and that's the end of their story. Henry and the nerds are kind of talking. They come up with an idea to move the Skylab slightly by using a 20-sided die. They're like, it's like, I think I know how that we can do this, but we'd have to just randomly put in numbers the whole time. But it'd have to be the right numbers. One of the kids, I always bring my 20-sided die. Like, you son of a bitch, it might work.
It's a day in the sun for D&D nerds.
Yeah. So Susie but like Beth's like already ran off they're going to go tell the people that they have to exit the building and they can't do the show. And then we cut to Susie and Ben introduce Mr. Alan Shepard, who is the MC of a talent show. And he does these terrible, like, old person jokes. Yeah. And it's not really, none of it's really that funny.
No,
at
but it's
first,
so weird.
But then
everyone's
the audience is starting to die. And then by the time you get to the third time he pops up doing jokes, you're like, is this funny? Like, why am I finding this funny all of a sudden? Oh, man. The crowd work in the show is amazing. So he introduces the first act. It's a guy who bounces a broom for 2 seconds. The crowd goes wild. During this, we see Henry and the gang rolling a dice and putting in numbers.
Talent is so shitty,
Yeah,
except for the
bad. Except for the one good talent that gets booed.
The musical theater.
Yeah. And then there's another act, and it has a kid doing black and white comedy, essentially. It's like, white people be like this, black people be like this. So,
I wish I could have gone to this camp.
And then the next act is the kid that does the announcements farts in front of a lighter. Everybody goes apeshit over it. And then during the show, Ron, Gail's ex, asks for her back, but she shuts him down. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
She's gotten so strong with all of her new friends.
Then we see she is with one of the kids.
She's got a new man.
So I guess the idea was that they thought of the idea of like having like the kid like kiss her, but then they're like, nah. But then they make like this subtle hint of like him like moving her hair out of her face, like just really quick, and then it cuts to Abby and Lindsay are like, what? So then we see Susie's drama group. Susie comes up. Before we start, I'd just like to say the campers you're about to see suck dick. But nevertheless, please welcome them.
Aren't these like the real Broadway actors?
I don't
know. Singing Day by Day.
It's so funny. And they crush it.
Everybody hates
and
it.
everybody starts, they're all super into it. And as soon as it stops, they all aggressively do them. And then we're back to the MC. I says,
day by day.
Then it's like, when I was younger, we had arts and crafts, but it was arts and farts and crafts.
I am crying right now.
And something I love is the whole time, like you see it and you think, oh, this is Coop. He's just playing this character as like a goof for the talent show. Then suddenly Coop walks in and we're like, oh, there's supposed to be two different people. And Coop walks in looking hot as fuck. Or actually just normal, but everybody says he's hot. He tells Katie that he's leaving because he's grown up a lot since dinner. And then he gives a gift to Katie and then leaves.
And she loves
like
it.
Even Andy's like, damn, he's hot now. Holy crap, I stand no chance. We see Henry and Beth can see Skylab in the air. They see it coming for them. Then it's time for Steve's act. And this is the guy that talks like a robot. He just raises his hands and starts making a bunch of wind happen. And
he's like a low-key a sorcerer.
Yeah. And this causes Skylab to go
awesome.
off course and miss the talent show.
Oh, man.
It's either that or all the random numbers. We'll never know.
That they were generating.
Yeah. So Katie opens up her gift and it's his flannel shirt in the tiniest little box possible. And it's obviously because she opens it while sitting on the bench.
You're right. And she's just
obviously pulling it out from under the bench. So she goes and tells him she loves him. I didn't know it till this very second, but I love it. And then it's like, Gerald Cooperberg, I love you. It's like, Gerald Cooperberg?
They had to add the berg on there.
Henry says they did it, or at least they think they did.
Oh, that scene is so amazing when he's just blowing the wind through the room and everyone's hair is getting blown back and everyone's just falling over.
And something I love that Gene is like with Nancy next to it, and they're like all kind of all over each other and talking during this whole talent show scene. I'm like, wait, is that supposed to be her husband?
No.
But then like we see him leaving and he like leaves with his mom. But I love that when we see Gene and he's being himself now, he's wearing like silk shirts and like looks like he just came from Miami Beach or something. I was like, dang, guy's cleaning up instead of doing his like usual, I'm a cafeteria war vet look. So everyone goes outside and we see Coop and Katie are making out. Aww. The next day, everybody is picking up their kids. So the next day, everyone is picking up their kids. Henry says he got the Hopkins reward and it's going to work for NASA in Florida. And he wants her to come with him. And apparently, they're pregnant, even though it's only the next day and they met yesterday. Because they're like, and if we have to, we'll adopt. It's like, I'm pregnant. So good. We see Gail with her boy toy. They invite Henry and Beth to their wedding.
Oh, man.
Yep. Gene says goodbye to the can. Katie talks to Coop. She tells them that she is 16 and she just wants to have sex, specifically with Andy and not Coop. It's like,
how many times have we heard that before?
All I want to do, I'm 16. I just specifically want to have sex. I just want to get with Andy and fuck his brains out. Then asked him to write her a letter, and he's like, okay. I love it because he's just like, oh, okay, what?
Yeah, I thought we had a thing.
And he has this like a perfect face of like, well, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then she leaves with Andy, who's just like hanging his head like out the window as lazy as possible.
So has this ever happened to you? No. It has to me.
Well, I guess I mean, never specifically where I've known it, but I'm pretty sure at least two girls have left me to go be with two other guys because they got with them pretty quickly after me breaking up with me.
Well, there was this, we were camping and this girl's like, we were all drinking and having fun. She's just in the middle of everyone. Well, just me and there was me, her, and one other guy there. And she's like, I really want to have sex. And I was like, with anybody? Yeah. And she's like, and I was like, started to talk to her. She's like, oh, not with you.
Like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Just seemed like you were pretty down to have sex. And turns out I'm a candidate for sex. I have all the parts. We could have done it.
And then they had sex in my truck.
Yeah.
Yep. I
would have got in and just drove off. It's like, I'm just leaving and you're got to go wherever I'm going. Get out of my truck.
Just crying.
So Coop walks off with Beth. It's great.
No.
And then we have an after credit scene where we see them 10 years later and JJ shows up late. It's like, I thought we were at 9:30. No, we said, or he's like, no, we said 9, but we meant 9:30. I'm like, well, he's there at 9:30. And that's the movie.
Oh, God.
Hilarious.
So much.
Great. great movie. Very funny, oddball, off the wall, fucking crazy, just great nonsense comedy. And it's just some of my favorite stuff. I mean, the best comedies are all very nonsensical like this to me.
I know, and it captures your attention so much because there's so many little things that are funny, and just you're looking for everything all the time.
So do you prefer like a comedy like this or like something like, I don't know, Knocked Up, where it's not, you know, it's a comedy with a story and it kind of takes the story a little seriously? Or do you like something like this where it's just like, here's stuff? Kind of like Anchorman. You know, this is kind of similar to Anchorman and Pop Star, Walk Hard.
Right now,
versus you got like Knocked Up, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, you know, all the
those movies are good, but
Judd
like
Apatow things.
Stuff like this, just silly nonsense, I think is my favorite.
Yeah, I think so too. It's kind of my favorite stuff.
Like all the Broken Lizard stuff is kind of that way too.
Yeah.
Not as extreme.
Got The Other Guys. That's kind of a movie like that where it's like, who are these characters? It's because usually in comedy you have a crazy world with normal people, or you have crazy people in a normal set world. This is crazy people in a crazy world. Like everybody's insane.
Like Mystery Man's kind of the same way. Like,
Man, I need to watch that again. It's been so long. Because you have like Kel, right? He's in it from Kenan and Kel, and he's the guy that can turn invisible, but he's only invisible when you can't see him. It's like everybody has to turn around, otherwise I can't turn invisible. I'm shy.
And there's the two villains that they're disco villains. And they're like, disco is life.
What was Ben Stiller's power? Did he have one?
He got angry.
Oh, okay.
And he got really angry, and it made him a little bit stronger than normal.
Gotcha. Dude, me and my buddy Austin at Home Depot, I didn't even think about it, but we kind of came up with something like that. Like when I got angry, I'm super strong, right? Well, it's not when I got angry, but I can just be super strong whenever I like rile myself up.
Yeah.
But if you say anything that hurts my feelings, I immediately become vulnerable to everything.
You just deflate.
So I'd be like, I'm so strong. Hey, I don't like your haircut. No.
That's so sensitive.
We wanted to really make a short film of that, but
that's awesome.
We never did it, and we wouldn't know how to do it probably. So yeah, that's the film. We're going to hop into our categories. The good, the bad, the ugly is the first one. It's where we talk about the good of the film, something we liked, the bad, something we didn't like, the ugly, something that didn't age well, the fine, something that did age well. What you got, mate? For the good.
The good is that this all took place in one day.
Yes. I love movies like that. I love one-day movies. Especially since this is making fun of like all the one-day movies. Like Dazed and Confused, things like that.
Yeah, they squeezed in an entire summer camp into one day.
One day.
Just,
it's I love it because we didn't talk about it, throughout the whole film, you'd see insane things happening. And before then something insane would happen, it'd be like 7:35. And then after the insane thing happened, 7:40. Yeah. Like, this was like a 10-minute scene.
But I think it sets up all the just nonsense when you see it the last day of camp. Like, this movie is one day.
Because like when Neil and Victor run back to camp, which took them all day to get there for only being 2 hours.
In minutes.
And they get there and like, I think the cut time was like 10 minutes. It's like, what? My good was the cast, obviously.
Hell yeah.
And then slow progression into lunacy.
Yes.
Because it just gets more and more loony as it goes. And at first it's like, it seems like a weird like comedy that doesn't know how to be a comedy. And then it's like, oh no, this is the comedy.
Just like pointing out how like, I guess summer camp is a little magical.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and it can be.
So then
supposedly.
We'll do the bad. What do you got as the bad?
God, I don't know, man. Like, I just love this so much.
I got one.
What is it?
I bet you won't guess.
The bad name for gay people?
No, that's in the ugly.
Oh, yeah.
The bad is it's too long.
Oh, yeah.
It's an hour and 38 minutes long. Could have cut 10 minutes. Truthfully, if I cut anything from this movie, like the parts that didn't really get me a laugh, you'd be the DJ stuff. Right? Yeah. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's funny, but I didn't laugh.
Yeah,
and then
right.
If I had to cut one other thing, it would just been the Gale stuff.
The what?
The Gale, Molly Shannon's character. Yeah. Like, it's funny, but it's just like
right. It's not on the same level.
It's
really.
Like they cut. It could have been like, we cut 2 or 3 times. That's it. That's enough.
Didn't have to make it a huge story.
Cutting to it like 6 times, and like, I get it. The joke is these kids are consoling her. I mean, it pays off to be like, she's marrying the kid. That's funny.
But yeah.
So I guess it works, but also at the same time, like I wouldn't have cared if it was out of the film.
Right. It doesn't deserve how much time it got.
It never really gives me a huge like laugh out loud chuckle like the rest of the storylines do.
It's just awkward.
Yeah. It's like, and that would have probably cut the 8 minutes and it would have been a perfect hour and a half. So I already said my ugly is just, just the classic 2000s comedy language.
Yeah.
Even though the point of the movie is that they're making it seem like they're mean about them being gay, but really they're just,
they're just idiots.
It's for the joke of that. Oh no, it was just, we're playing a trick on the audience. And then obviously the Gale stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't put it in a movie now. Every like Republican would be like, I told you the Jewish people are taking our kids.
Oh no.
It's like QAnon would came after him.
Oh God.
All right, so the fine. What's something that aged well for you? There's the most obvious glaring one.
Which one?
Paul Rudd. He never ages.
No, he doesn't. Because he looks the same age
He's
now
the definition of the category, the fine.
Yeah.
He aged well.
Yeah.
He's finally starting to show that he maybe looks like he's in his late 30s while he's in his 50s now.
Ant-Man really did a number on him. It's true.
It's like, oh, that third movie was so bad. I aged so much.
Yeah, his hair just starts going gray.
Seeing MODOK's little butt cheeks killed my soul.
MODOK,
yeah. The little guy.
I've only seen like
he's the guy that floats around. Oh, yeah. There's a scene.
He's got a weird head.
Yeah, they show his little butt.
Huh.
He's got a little butt.
And this is Ant-Man 3?
He's got a little butt and they show it.
Why?
It's like it's like something, his butt almost looks like something like you draw as like a little kid. Like, here's a butt.
That's
insane.
So weird.
I was thinking like we need to figure out, maybe we'll do it January where we do like a bad movie month.
Nice.
We'll pick like movies that are kind of watchable but really bad and funny still, because like I can't do a movie like The Room 4 straight times. There has to be some like actual pacing to a movie for me to watch. I can't do 4 of them. We'll probably do The Room. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Is that like an escape room?
We may actually, maybe we'll do a bonus episode where we do a commentary and we'll get like a couple people to join us to watch it.
Okay.
It's fucking insane, man. It's like considered the worst movie ever made.
Oh, nice.
The Disaster Artist. Did you ever watch that?
No.
With James Franco and Seth Rogen and all them. It's about that. Okay.
Never heard of it.
Well, we have to do it soon then.
That's awesome.
Because you'll be like, what?
How did I miss
It'd be a great movie for us to like drink or So we'll move to our next category, and this is called Double Feature, where we pick a movie that goes well with this movie.
Hell yeah.
What is your double feature?
I don't know. I guess I was going to say Superstar, but I guess I'm going to go with Superstar.
Yeah, that's good. We've never recommended that one. That's a good movie to recommend. It's very silly.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell's insane in it. I love it. And it all stems from the SNL skit, which is great. Well, eventually, maybe we'll just do like an SNL skit. Like we'll do Wayne's World, Blues Brothers, Superstar, and
MacGruber.
Oh, we already did MacGruber. Damn it. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to figure something out as an SNL.
Didn't Ladies Man have his own movie too?
Bro, yeah, we can do Ladies Man. That or Night at the Roxbury.
Oh,
that's a good one.
I love Night at the Roxbury.
It's like, I don't think Corky Romano is an SNL skit. No, it's not. That was just Catan. I love that
Chris
movie.
Kattan is insane.
Yeah, he's so good. So you chose Superstar. I chose Scary Movie.
Nice.
It's getting close to October, and I'm just
can't wait to be spooked.
Viciously awaiting it. It's like well, we're probably actually just going to start doing nonstop horror movies in this house.
Hell yeah.
Probably starting September because it's my favorite genre.
I want to get that streaming service that has all the scary stuff. Yeah.
If you're still logged into my Amazon, I have it.
I'm not. It turns out we have Stars, and it was on Stars.
Oh, hell fucking yeah, dude. I was going to say, I was like, please log out of my thing. I just don't want your kids to accidentally buy a bunch of stuff. Maybe. I don't know if your kids do that.
Yeah, that was the kids buying all that stuff.
It's a classic kid thing.
Yeah.
Wow, all these kids.
My nephew did it to me on Xbox. He bought a ton of shit.
So frustrating.
It's okay, Marcus. I forgive you.
Kids, man. All right, that's our discussion on Wet Hot American Summer. And it looks like we have successfully recorded this episode, Jason. We did it. All right, so what are we doing next time? So next time we're doing something a little different and special.
I think Minority Report.
We're doing Minority Report. And you know who's leading this one?
Me.
Jason, as long as his tooth doesn't keep him up and, like just kind of destroy his ability to take notes and like focus. And if not, then I can do it, of course. But it's going to be a Jason-led episode.
Oh, man, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be so good. Comparatively.
Yeah. Just don't get nervous, bro. That was my problems at the beginning when trying to do this. I was super nervous.
Like get nervous and forget what you were going to say?
Well, and like losing track on my screen because I'm like, oh crap, I scrolled too much. Oh no. And then I start panicking in my head. I don't do that quite as much anymore. Now that I've like, Jesse, you can just edit things out. Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect immediately. This is a podcast that is not live. Which is why I never want to do a video podcast. Because you don't really
you gotta do your own makeup and stuff.
Oh yeah, and then you like if I edit something out, it's gonna look like I obviously edited something out, and I don't like that. It has to seem seamless, damn it. But anyway, so join us.
Be good at it
next Monday because that's right, baby. We do on Mondays now, and listen to us discuss Minority Report.
Hell yeah!
And if there's any other movies,
that's our first Tom Cruise movie.
No, we did War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Because we wanted to do Minority Report after War of the Worlds, but I was like, no, we got to give it some space for Steven Spielberg.
Some space.
Tom Cruise movie. So yeah, join us next week for that. And leave us some fan mail and tell us like what movie you want us to do. If you hate the Monday release date, you can let us know that. But please don't say you hate it because we'd have to change it. And
if like, one person says they hate it,
I'd like to just, keep it on Mondays. I feel like it's going to work out better for our schedules. So yes, leave us some fan mail. You can click the description at the top of or you can click the link in the description or go all the way down to the bottom of the description and go to We Recommend mailbag@gmail.com if you want to talk to us and leave us emails that we will read.
Send us your ASMR.
Yes, because we will read them out loud on the show. And you can leave your name if you want your name said. I don't know. Or we won't say your name. It doesn't matter to me. It's just whatever you want. Just say it in the email. And if you want to follow us on social media, go to our link tree /We Recommend Podcast, where you can easily get to all our stuff. And you can follow us it's the quickest way to get to our streaming stuff. And thank you, Joey Prosser, for our intro and outro music. You can follow him on X at Mr. Joey Prosser. And god dang it, I think that's everything that I usually say.
Woo!
This has been the We Recommend Podcast, and I'm Jesse.
I'm Jason. Wet Hot Jason.
Wet Hot Jason. Jason, you smell like burgers. I don't like you anymore. Bye!